You're listening to the Flooring Company Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another training episode. My name is Matt Law. I am the CEO of Grow Inc. We are a marketing agency that works exclusively, and I mean exclusively, with service-based businesses. I love it. I love entrepreneurs. I love small business, and I want to see companies win. That's why we made this training and why we are giving away all of our free resources. In this episode, we're going to talk about increasing leads with free offers. And so actually this audio is part of our free offer. We've also put it out there on podcasts, but it's also hosted on our website. So when people visit our website and they request our free offers, they can listen to our audio. And so if you go back to our first training, and again, I hope you have listened kind of in order. Our first training, we talked about our 4-step marketing process. It's also in our book. Step number 2 is grow your database with platforms and offers. So for most service-based businesses, your 2 platforms are going to be your telephone and your website. This is where people can get in touch with you and request something for free. And so when I was doing that training, we talked a little bit about how people who call in can request something, or you could say, hey, can I send you over some information? And they can say yes, and you could do that. And then it can also happen through your website. People can request a design guide, coupon code, something like that. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how you can use free offers to increase the number of leads you generate. And I want to emphasize how effective it is to give away something valuable for free to attract customers. So the 4-step marketing process is super powerful. And so think about it like this. You're here today and you're listening to this training. And if you've listened to all of these, you're listening to some 6 hours of training. You're listening to a book about the correct way to market your service business. There's a checklist. There's a tool guide that tells you all of our tools, and there's no strings. It's just basically free. Other agencies or other marketing companies that work with service businesses, they're like, call us now. Let us set you up. Our method is totally different. It's like, hey, just here's some great, helpful, free resources. And so what happens is our conversion rate on our website is much higher than our competitors because we're not pressuring people. Actually, we don't even answer the phone unless it's scheduled. And so what's happening is our database is growing by us simply educating people and giving away something free. When people come to your website in the same way, they don't want to be sold. They don't want to necessarily have to go and have a job quoted. They are interested, and maybe they're thinking about adding your service, but they're unsure yet. They don't know what it's going to cost. And so this is where your free offer can come in. And so with most service businesses, depending on what they are and where they're located, we will usually do like some sort of design guide, which depends on the item, but it basically includes what the latest trends are. Now, this would be something that is more emotionally connected. If it's a service business like a septic company, we would basically do some sort of coupon offering and include with it some helpful tips about selecting the right company. There's lots of ways you can do this, but basically a free offer is anything that makes someone raise their hand and say, hey, I may be interested, but I'm not ready yet. And usually you're just going to collect their first name and email, and you would capture that. And that way you can send them right over a link to get their ebook or their coupon or whatever. Now, when we talk about marketing automation, later in our training, that is follow-up that will happen because these people have requested your free resources. So there's a lot of challenge in your business to generate leads. And most of the time in a service business, it's when people call in and it's a quote. And at that time, that is also considered like a lead generated through, maybe not through a free offer, but by requesting a quote. And so you want to make sure you follow up with them and add them to your database as well. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about some of the different types of free offers. Again, I think design guides are great for like plumbers, if you're doing like kitchens. If you are a remodeler, that's a great option. If you're into floors, you can talk about the different types of floors. It depends on your business. If pools is a great one, swimming pools, there's various business models, and depending on what you sell and who your target audience is for your service, a design guide is a good way. If it may not be appropriate to do a coupon if you're targeting high-end jobs. So you may not want to do that, but maybe you're like a blue collar HVAC contractor, and a coupon for a new install would be a great way to get started. So basically, these are like lead magnets. They can go on various pages on your website. If someone calls in and they just have some questions, but they're not ready to commit, the person who answers the phone could say, "Hey, before we hang up, do you mind if I send you over some information about our company? I can also send you a coupon for up to X amount of dollars if you decide to end up working with us." And more than likely, they will say yes, and then they would type in their name, their email, push enter, and that would trigger the automation. So the design guide's a good way. A coupon is also a good, and like I said, it doesn't always work depending on the industry, but it's a great way for generating leads as well. You can have different options. And then once you have this kind of planned out, the main thing is you want to create a seamless user experience. So basically, when someone requests something, they should get it right away. I mean, the email should trigger right away. If you have it through your phone system where people are talking on the phone and they say, "Hey, can I send this over to you?" Basically, it's a hidden form on a website, or maybe they just go to your website, put in their information, push enter, and then boom, they go and they receive that free offer right away, that design guide. You want to keep the momentum going. So free offer, really clear, no strings attached. Basically, it's like, "Hey, we got something great for you and we want to just help you. Can we be helpful?" And one thing I realize, this is the law of reciprocation. And so when you are good to people and you're kind to people, it really is the golden rule. It's what Jesus said. He's like, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." And I think by honoring the golden rule and treating people well and educating them, you are being very, very helpful. And this is what goes into the mind of your customers. They're like, if they're this helpful now, and I'm just a prospect and they're not putting any pressure on me, how much greater is it going to be when I actually work with them? And so by being helpful and being authentic and caring about them and creating a good offer, it really shows your integrity, and it shows that you are someone they want to work with. And so for us, as I mentioned, we started this episode today, or this training. This audio is part of our free resources. And so we have this book that we wrote just to educate. We have the checklists and the tools. And then we have the audio of all the things that are the most important. And so we just like, hey, here it is. And so, yeah, it took some time to create this training. It took time to write the books and get all that stuff done. But what you have to realize is when you provide value for people, then you don't have to sell because you're giving education. And I try to teach our clients that are in, the service business clients, that if you will give them a really great welcome package, a PDF, you give away free resources, you serve the customer and you listen and you educate them, then you will not have to sell because they trust you. And so because we have done such a good job of creating these educational resources, we don't have to sell people. Like I said before, we only will take calls that are scheduled, people that have requested our information and would be a good fit to work with us. People that really are looking for a marketing agency that specializes in service businesses, that have listened to all of the training, and they come on the phone and they're like, "Hey, Matt, I've listened to everything. We are ready to go." And so there's a difference of high pressure selling versus educating. And you can do that with your free offer. Even if people request a quote on your website, by sending them that welcome package we talked about with your unique selling points, with basically your reviews and upselling and cross-selling your job types and financing, you are being very, very helpful to them ahead of time. And so it's showing value. So once someone requests your free offer, you need to use some sort of automation to send them over that free resource. And so a lot of companies that we work with use tools like Make.com or Zapier.com, which will basically receive that web form notification, and then it will send out a ebook and an email that is kind of merges in their information. It says, here is your delivery. It will then add them to a follow-up sequence. And so a follow-up sequence we'll talk more about in marketing automation, but it's maybe like, maybe you do kitchen renovations and people want a kitchen design guide. Well, they get that, and then they may get 2 or 3 other emails as part of that sequence to follow up to see if they'd like to schedule with you or to talk to you about it. And again, you're providing advice, helpful information, but the other thing you're doing in your free offer is you're sharing unique selling points. You're sharing, hey, how we're different, how we're better. And so you can really use that to educate. In our book, our 4-step marketing blueprint for contractors, we really talk about at the end of the book, like how we're different. And that's a bonus part of the book. So it doesn't have the marketing side, but there's a couple words in there about why we're better and why we're different, how we work with clients versus our competitors. So you want to basically think about your follow-up process, but when people request your free offer, you definitely want to be in touch with them. And so when people request a quote on our websites, or if they request a free offer, what we do is we want to send them some emails, our unique selling points, educating them and until they get to that next step, which is where they've accepted the contract. Once that happens, once they accept the contract, then they would stop receiving marketing automation that kind of tells them about, why they should work with a company. So as I kind of close out, I want to maybe share just a couple of thoughts about this. I know in your business, you're like, I don't know about doing a coupon. I don't know about doing an ebook. I don't know about that. I have some clients that they just don't feel good about that. Okay, so let's say you don't. You still, every time someone requests a quote by phone or on your website, they should be receiving your information package with your USPs. They should then be receiving your follow-up unique selling point email sequences, which is part of marketing automation. Now, we haven't talked about that yet, but we are going to get there and talk about that. So I would encourage you, even if you're not willing to do a coupon or a design guide or something, to make sure that you do send over that package with your USP, that PDF, and it's the same thing your sales guy would bring. Another type of sample you may be able to do, but depending on your industry, is to send them over like a material samples or a material guide or something like that. And sometimes you can take a bunch of different materials and make them into small pieces so people can actually feel them and kind of see them. And so we've talked with clients about doing that. I haven't done that, but I don't think it would be very hard depending on what you get from your manufacturer. You can also do like a digital copy where they could see pictures on there as well. And maybe it's just a printout as well. I've even talked to, this is probably about 12 years ago. I was working with a pool company and we talked about doing a DVD to send out. We ended up not doing that, but it was a design guide for a pool contractor saying, hey, here's a video. They had testimonials in there, samples of that. But what we ended up doing is making that into a video. And so you could do it as a DVD, and then you'll capture their mailing address and things like that. But you could also just do it as an online video that people could get. So there's a lot of ways that that you can create an offer. You just got to think about your industry and what can provide value for them. So a couple questions. How do I determine which type of free offer will be the most effective for my business? It's tricky, guys. You really just need to think about what are the common things people ask you about all the time. They're like, hey, what is that question they're always asking you? Is it material? Is it cost? Sometimes it's like how to estimate their business or what the cost of their job is going to be. And maybe you can kind of give them a tool that helps them figure out the ballpark of it, like a spreadsheet or something. You basically just need to think about what people are asking you often and where, if there's an area in the industry that they don't understand about, that you can educate them. How can I ensure that my free offer stands out? Most of your competitors are not doing this. They're not doing any lead generation. They're like, call us, we're family owned and operated. You won't have a problem with that. You just want to put it out there and it needs to look good. The book design, if it's an ebook, it needs to look good. Everything just needs to look classy. And you got to think about this. They don't care about you. They care about what's in it for them. And so answer their questions and help them and make it stand out. What are the best practices for converting leads, these quote requests or the free offers into customers? The secret is having a seamless communication. So from the time they request a lead and the information you send to the appointment you schedule and sending them those messages of your upcoming appointment, thanking them for afterwards of that, and then making sure your estimate gets to them in a way that they can see it and access it. For some customers right now, we send it through text and email, and then there's a link they click on. And so we know that it gets opened. It's powerful, but you really want to just be the best communicator, and you want to think about their questions and concerns, and you would use those, you would follow up. So like for one of our customers, like, contractors, a lot of them are sketchy. Let's just be honest. Like, I know you're the business owner and you're a good person, but sometimes you get some sketchy contractors that have bad attitudes, and there's drugs sometimes involved, and there's people that are just, messy and lazy and not dependable. And so one of our first unique selling points is like drug tested, screen background contractors, and that makes it tougher for this business, but they have good people. And so if they bring on people that are not good dudes, then what's going to happen is, it makes the customer feel uncomfortable. So now they're like, hey, we got good people showing up. They have one USP email about financing. They have one about their warranty, how it's better than everyone else's. They have one that's about their reviews, and then it links over to their Google review page. And so basically, by the time the sales guy is done and they're getting their estimate, they're very well educated about this. All of that increases the conversion rate. That all is started by getting people to request a free offer, either by phone and adding to a system like that, or your database system, or on the website by requesting the free offer or requesting a quote. You basically want to get their information and then add them to your database and marketing automation. And again, for database systems, there's apps like MailChimp, Aweber. There's a lot of these where basically you can add them and then it will send them a strategic number of emails. There's tools like Make.com and Zapier.com, which will connect multiple applications so that when someone requests something, you could follow up with an automated email and then put them on a sequence of follow-up. So again, there's lots of options with this. And the main thing I would say is just make sure you're thinking about lead generation and how you're going to follow up. If you are a listener of our training and you haven't requested our free resources, make sure you check it out at grow.inc/start. And we got a book with over 100 pages for our 4-step marketing process. There's the audio version of it. There's Kindle version, and you can also read it on Google Play. We also have our checklist of tools and our DIY marketing plan, which will basically be a checklist for you to do the plan yourself. Again, people are like, Matt, why go overboard and help people? You have to understand it's a law of reciprocation. And by doing good to your prospects and educating them, it's going to make your job easier. And so here by us doing an audio training, if someone goes through our training and then they end up becoming a client, they're going to be like, hey, I know exactly what we're doing. I know why we're doing it. And it just makes our job of leading that partnership, that growth partnership, so much easier. So in our next episode, we're going to dig in and we're going to talk about CRMs. And some of you have a CRM, some of you don't. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Manager. I'm going to talk to you about why we create unique custom CRMs for each client to fit their business. And I think you're going to find it super helpful. So as we've been talking over the last trainings, these episodes of trainings, you say probably, how does all of this work together? And the solution, folks, is in that custom CRM, which uses automation to connect to all of the tools that the client uses. And it allows them to run their business seamlessly, like we've talked about in this training. So thank you guys for listening and hanging out with me. I hope to see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.